How to heal from gay breakups. Hey guys, Michael Pizzulo here, psychotherapist in West Hollywood. So breakups are tough for everyone, but I think for gay men, they can be particularly painful because they reopen old wounds of rejection, abandonment, and it can trigger a lot of shame and guilt and a whole host of feelings that are quite difficult to deal with. So I want to give you a few ways that you can walk through this experience in a way that will hopefully help you manage your mental health, emotional well-being, and all those sorts of things from a gay perspective. So the first thing I would say is, when you experience a breakup, there can be a urge to chase clarity and find an answer. And I would really try to avoid this. You'll see people really like rehashing and regurgitating the story of what happened, where did we go wrong, and all that kind of stuff. And I think there is a time and a place to think about what can I learn from this relationship and how can I take some skills to move forward, don't get me wrong. But in the beginning, I don't think it's so useful because what you really need to begin focusing on is the grief process, is the letting go, is the readjusting and all that sort of stuff, and obsessing on the narrative of what happened and replaying it and relitigating it and sharing it with friends and having them replay it with you, I think can just sort of keep you stuck in sort of an analysis paralysis. So I would resist the urge to figure it all out and get clarity right away by just obsessing on the story and focus more on the healing process that is going to come and that I'll get into. And then with that being said, I think the most important process to start with is just acknowledge how hurtful it is. I mean, breakups can be brutal, especially if it's long-term relationship, divorces. I mean, they can be really, really traumatic. So you definitely want to acknowledge how difficult this is, even though breakups might seem kind of common and normal, which they are, doesn't mean they're easy. So really start by acknowledging the pain that you're experiencing and not just skipping into figuring something out or skipping over the feelings that you're having and not acknowledging them. And then I think with that, once you really digest and make sense of, I'm going through something traumatic and painful, is that you really want to focus on some sort of grounding process. It's almost like an earthquake went off in your life. You might feel disabled or confused or all sorts of things, right? And also there's like a grief process that might be activated as well, of feeling like a huge loss, and your whole world might feel different and confusing, and you just might not feel like yourself right now. So what you really want to focus is on doing everything you can to feel as grounded as possible. So like surrounding yourself with friends who are supportive, doing healthy things, routine, whatever it is. And then on the other side, you want to resist the urge to do anything that might throw you off further. So no major changes, no giant risks. I know there might be some sort of temptation to just sort of skip over all of this and, do something thrilling and exciting. But if it doesn't go well, you're just gonna, add more dysregulation to the picture when you're already not feeling your most grounded. So really focus on doing things that make you feel as grounded and secure as possible. And then once you get your bearings back, which you will, then you can go into, bringing in some excitement and adventure back into your life again. The fourth one I would say is thinking about the narrative in a way that is helpful and not hurtful. So yes, there can become a time where you reflect on the relationship and think about, what went wrong, what went right, and really like, what can I do better going forward? And you want to do this in a way where it's not blaming or shaming yourself in the sense of, I'm undateable, no one's going to want me, all that kind of stuff, right? But thinking about, is there anything I can learn from this? Because our relationships should be opportunities to learn and to grow, even if they don't work out long-term, right? So think about like, what is the wisdom I can take away from this? I think that's a much more helpful, realistic, and also just positive way to move through a breakup rather than just falling into beating yourself up further and blaming yourself for everything. And keep in mind too that it's a relationship, so it takes two. So all of the blame is shared. It's not just on you. And then the last thing I would say is keeping your optimism. So obviously when something doesn't go well, it's really easy to get pessimistic and frustrated, and especially if you've been through breakups before, and to feel like this is never gonna work, I'm never gonna find anyone, all that kind of stuff. So you really want to think about, how can I hold on to my optimism? Because you don't want your negative experiences in life to inform a pessimistic outlook, because what that will do is prevent you from achieving the goals that you want. And again, it doesn't have to be, all sunshine and rainbows. You can acknowledge the realistic frustration and trials and tribulations that we all go through. But you want to be mindful that you're not developing a pessimism, because if you do, then if you do meet the next person and they are great, you're not going to be available, you're not going to experience it, your mindset's going to be clouded by this negativity, and you won't be able to be present to welcome this new person into your life. So think about, despite all of this, how can I hold on to a sense of optimism as I move forward? I think that's so important with every tough thing we go through in life. So those are my thoughts, really kind of 5 steps, 5 ideas to think about. How can gay men navigate breakups? Let me know what you guys think. As always, please subscribe to my channel if you want more information about gay men, relationships, mental health, all those sorts of things. Let me know if your experiences are similar to this, if you've used any of these tools, if you've navigated a breakup and you found things that have been found that you found to be useful. Would love to gather those, and so people can see those and we can learn from one another. I think it's so valuable and so useful. I love all the comments that I see, so I try to read through all of them, and I appreciate the dialogue that gets opened up amongst everyone. So thank you as always for watching. And if you want to chat with me directly, again, if as a therapist or as a coach, I have my booking link in the description and you can reach out to me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.